Hi, how are you? I'm Rich. Today we're going to have a look at installing Ubuntu Linux on VirtualBox. Previously we've looked at Kali, we've looked at Windows 10, Windows 11. So we're going to look at Ubuntu. So what's this Ubuntu stuff you're talking about? Right, Ubuntu is just another variation of Linux. There are dozens out there. And you're more than welcome to Google Linux editions and have a search around, install, play, bin, because it's a virtual machine. It's just I've picked Ubuntu because it's kind of one of the most popular out there, and I use it. So, without further ado, let's get our Google up and let's get going. So, there's no death by PowerPoint today. You'll be pleased to hear. We've done that to death. So what do we want? We want Ubuntu. And I will put a link for the Ubuntu website down below, but you know, just getting you used to Googling for everything. So ubuntu.com is the official site, and we want the official link. Here's the Ubuntu site. There's a plethora of information. You can see it all. There's all sorts of install docs, what it can be run on, how it can be run, what you can do with it. There's loads of stuff. You can actually run it on a Raspberry Pi as well, and they do have a Raspberry Pi image for Ubuntu. So if you've got a Raspberry Pi sitting around, you've seen this before, little single board computer, yeah, 8 gig for a quad core Raspberry 4B, I think it is at the moment. They've just come back into stock at time of recording. They were about 75 UK pounds. But you do need your power supply and all that stuff with it. Anyway, I digress as per usual. We're going to go to downloads. There's two types of Ubuntu Linux, and within those types there's a few different versions. The two types are Ubuntu Desktop. So the desktop gives you the full GUI graphical user interface desktop environment. So you get your wallpaper, you get your taskbar, you get all your buttons, and you get GUI, draggy, droppy, clicky, all that stuff. Then there's the server version, which gives you basically a streamlined, stripped back. There's no GUI, there's nothing. When it boots up, it just boots up into a terminal interface, and everything is command line. Yeah, it's all CLI powered, and that's great for running little servers. I use it to run my DNS server, my WireGuard server, my security SIM server, and a couple of other things that we'll not go into. So we'll have a look at both of these today. So we're going to click on Get Ubuntu Desktop. When I said there's different versions in each type, what I mean is there's release versions. Yeah, so they're always updating. They're always coming out with new funky stuff to put into them. So like Windows 10 do feature updates. You can basically think of these as feature updates, and they come with very nice pictures, and they come with very nice names. The official name is Ubuntu 22.042 for this version. LTS stands for long-term support, which currently on this version is up till April 2027. And the nice friendly name is Jammy Jellyfish. We've had Focal Fossa, we've had Kinetic Kudo, and the newer release is Lunar Lobster. I keep forgetting that, but Lunar Lobster, hence the little dots, like the constellation and all that. Very nice. So what's this LTS long-term support nonsense all about, Rich? Come on, explain it. Basically, long-term support will give you, they keep producing all the updates, security updates, all that, for 5 years. Yeah. So this is, as I say, up to 2027 at time of recording. We're in August now, 2023. Wow. 2022 stands for the year. 04 is the month. And this is the version of it. So it was released in April 2022. They normally do April and a bit and October, September, October in the year as big release dates for their different versions. But this is the LTS. This one, the April 2023 one, the Lunar Lobster. This is the next feature update, we'll call it. But this only comes with 9 months of security and maintenance updates up to January 2024. So you might still get updates after that, but you might not. So it's one of them. Do you play with it? Do you not? If you're just playing with it, it's happy days. If you want something more as a desktop solution in replace of your laptop or something, then you want to go for the LTS versions. System requirements: 2 GHz dual core processor or better. So if you've got an old cronky laptop knocking around, an old Celeron processor in there, dual core Celeron, an old mucky Pentium or something, then that'd be great. If it's got 4 gig of RAM or more in it, super. If it's got 2 gig of RAM, will it work? Yes, it will. It'll just be a little bit slower in operation. 25 gig of free hard drive space. So, you know, next to nothing really. Depends on what you want to do with it. If you're going to install it in place of your Windows or Mac or something on an old laptop or PC, then if you're going to use it as every day, then you might be putting music, videos or something on there, so you might want a bit more storage. Internet access is helpful. I love that, isn't it? And you'll need either a DVD drive or a USB port for your installer if you're doing it onto a bare metal machine. We're going to be doing it as a virtual machine, so we don't need any of that. We just need to know kind of what system requirements we need to be looking at. So we're going to look at the stable version, the long-term support. We'll hit the download button, and away it goes. It's not a cake, or a dinner, but here's one I made earlier. I've already downloaded it, so I'll just kill that. And if you are following along and you've hit the download button, let it go, let it go, let it go. It's all right. It's doing it in the background. Don't worry about it. Let it go, and we'll go and have a look at the server. Just one thing to note, because it spotted it in the corner of my eye. Down here, there's little guides. So if you just want to stop listening to me waffling on, you can just click on here, and it'll walk you through it. Yeah, they're really helpful. They really want you to install the software because it's better than Windows, almost. But we got that downloading. Server. We'll have a look at the server version. Again, we've got it's the same setup, the same releases. We've still got the jammy jellyfish and the lunar lobster, but the server is tiny. So it's basically the same. We're going to download it. If you hit download, you'll see it pop up here. If you're on something like Chrome, it'll pop up down here. I can't remember where Firefox does it. But again, if you notice, we're downloading the .iso files, right? These are the bare metal installers. They're not things on VirtualBox that you can add or import. You have to create a machine and install the software from scratch. Yeah, we're doing the ISO files. Again, here's one I made earlier. So I'm going to bin this off because I've already got it going. Already got it downloading. And when you do download, you'll see the two files that have come down, which are nicely named, unlike the Windows. So you've got the Ubuntu, the version, and the desktop version, and you've got the Ubuntu version and the server version. My desktop version is .1. That's because I'm using an old download rather than downloading the newer version again. I'm just using it for demo, so it's okay. So straight into VirtualBox. Stop waffling, Rich. Get on with it. Yeah. So again, we can't import, we can't add, so we need to create a new machine. We'll give it a name. Ubuntu desktop, so we know what it is. I'm just going to call mine test so I can identify it amongst all the other junk. Where do you want to store it? Well, if you were following along with other videos, you'll know that we got a documents folder, and in our documents folder, we've created a virtual machines folder, and we can create a new folder in here, and we'll call it Ubuntu Desktop 2204. I always use the underscore instead of a dot. It's just me. Sometimes they don't like dots when you're saving stuff. Select the folder. So it's going to save it in there. The ISO image. So this is the one that we've just downloaded, and it'll be in our downloads folder. There it is, the desktop version. Okay. It's automatically figured out that it's Linux and Ubuntu. Spot on. The unattended installation. Last time I did the unattended installation on one of these, it didn't flaming work. So I'm going to scrap that off and skip it, because it doesn't. You've still got to fill the information in anyway. So hardware, they recommend 4 gigabytes of RAM. If you've only got two. If you haven't got much to spare in your system, put it down to 2. That's fine. Processors. Let's be generous. Let's give it 2. Pushing the boat out. Yeah, it wanted 2. It will run on 1, but a bit. Yeah. Next, hard drive is going to create the standard 25 gig hard drive. For me, this is a test environment, and it's going to get binned at the end of the video. So all these settings are completely fine for me. If you do want to keep it, use it and play with it, install loads of software and whatnot, give it a bit more, 64 gig maybe, if you've got the space. Next, check the settings, click finish, and it creates our machine. Happy days. So that's not the end of it. We need to start it and install. So we hit start, it's powering up the VM. These little menus that pop up, you can just kill them, get rid of them. They don't mean anything. It just means that it's capturing your keyboard in the VM. One thing to note, right? I've just clicked into the screen. I'm pointing at the screen, and you can't see me pointing at the screen. I've just clicked in the screen, and now my mouse has disappeared. Oh, where's the mouse gone? How am I meant to do anything? Just before this auto executes, if you press the CTRL, the bottom right CTRL button, it'll release your mouse. And because I waffled on for so long, it auto selected the try or install Ubuntu. I mentioned the release the mouse thing because I was doing a lab and I got my mouse stuck, and I went, oh, how frustrating. The escape key. And I pressed it and I went, oh, I've done install videos and I've forgotten to mention it, so I have put it in the comments of the other 2 videos, just in case anybody gets stuck. It does happen now and again. Right, so this is booting. It's going to give us 2 options now. It's going to give us try or install. Now the try option means that you can run this as a live install. Yeah, you can flash it onto a USB drive or something like Rufus as a bootable drive. Go to any computer that's powered off, plug it in, boot from the USB drive, and you've got a live working Linux operating system on that computer. Yeah, it's ephemeral, so when you shut it down, that session's gone. If you saved any information, it's gone. Doesn't store it. Stores it all virtually. It doesn't touch your hard drive of that machine, of your laptop, PC, whatever it may be. It uses all the hardware resources, but it doesn't touch your hard drive. Yeah, so you're not mucking about. You're not saving anything to your hard drive or anything like that. It just creates an ephemeral operating system for you to play around with. And if you just needed one to do something quick and dirty, happy days. It's great. It's great for doing that. So you can do try or the install, and we don't want to try it. We're going to install it. That's what we're here for. And I've selected the language English. Keyboard layout. I'm in the UK, and I do love a UK keyboard because when I press a button that I'm expecting to press, I get the answer I expect to get. So I always check it. Press the hash key, I get a hash. You're clicking here. So I'm sorry, No. Where's me? Oh no. English UK. That was me pressing buttons when I should have clicked in here. You click in here to test, you get a hash, and I get a hash. So English UK, stop playing. Click continue to move on. Updates another software. So what apps would you like to install to start with? Normal installation will give you pretty much everything. The minimal will strip out a whole load of junk. Go with the normal. You can always remove it if you don't want it. It's just easier than having to install it when you come to use something and it's not there. Download updates whilst installing Ubuntu. I'm going to untick this simply to speed things up. I recommend that you do leave this ticked so that when you do boot it up, you don't have to go through all the update process and all that nonsense. Install third-party software for graphics, Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. So if you've got some weird and wonderful stuff in your computer that requires third-party drivers, you might need to install them here. But generally, if you're installing in VirtualBox or a standard PC, laptop or something, Linux picks up 99% of all the hardware and just installs it all for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to untick the downloads. I'd leave it ticked if you're installing this, and I'm going to click continue. As I say, I'm going to tear this down after the video, so it's fine. Next screen. Next screen, please. There we go. Right. Oh, it's going to erase the entire disk. It's fine. It's just that 25 gig virtual disk. Don't worry about it. It's not going to wipe your entire operating system and bin your computer or laptop, whatever you're on. Erase a disk and install Ubuntu. Yeah, just hit that one. It's fine. Are you really sure? Because this is going to destroy all the information on your computer. No, it's not. Just the 25 gig. If you were installing this bare metal, yeah, over you're going to wipe your windows off and everything. Now's the time to think. Did you take the pictures of the kids off? If you've got naughty pictures and videos on there, then wipe them off. You shouldn't have them on there anyway. Unless they're your own, then do whatever you like. Seriously, if you are installing this bare metal onto a laptop or a computer, now is the time to think, have I got everything off that device that I want? I'm happy to lose everything on it, because this will wipe the hard drive and install Ubuntu. But in a VM, we're fine, because we're creating a brand spanking new virtual hard drive. Click continue, and then it'll ask you where you are. If you've got an internet connection, it'll automatically pick roundabouts where you are. It thinks I'm in London, because apparently London is the only place in the UK. It's not. So yeah, you can go and start picking your own place if you really want to pick something. If it doesn't automatically pick it up, but it's happy for me, because apparently London is the only place in the UK. Click continue on that. Right, who are you? Who are you? I'm Rich. So it's going to rename my computer as Rich VirtualBox. And yeah, I'll leave it as that. I don't care. You can put anything you like in here. If you were going to share it on your network and do networking stuff and target and all this and the other, then you need to kind of remember this, because this is what it's going to be called when you try and access it, unless you're accessing it by the IP address. Pick a username. I'll just leave it as Rich. Stick in your super secret password. And I'll say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If this is you, stop it. Yeah, do something decent. Although this is a VM, and if you're just playing with it, it doesn't really matter. But if you do this anywhere else, slap you. Yeah. Right. Nonsense. Log in automatically or require my password to log in. So this is just when it boots up. Do you want to just hammer straight into your desktop, or do you want it to come, if you want it a little bit more secure, do you want to be able to, or have to put your password in to log in? This doesn't do away with your password altogether, and you'll see that in a minute. You do need your password. Yeah? So don't just think you can set it, log in automatically and forget about it, never have to use it ever again. You will need it. Write it down. Pen and paper. yeah, I'll leave it as that. If you've got an Active Directory domain controller and you want to log into that, you can. I haven't got one set up here using it yet because it's just a bit of a pain for me at the moment. It's coming. Right, so now it's going to go off and do all its jiggly bobs. It's going to get all the files off that ISO file, download, get them, import them into this. It's going to go on the internet, download some extra files that it needs, and carry on. It'll take about 5 to 6 minutes. So rather than you sitting here watching this lovely little canonical spinning wheel, I'm going to pause the video, nip to the loo, get a brew, and I'll see you in 5 to 6 minutes. Okie dokie. Right, so I should have had a lovely little splash screen there going 5 to 6 minutes later. I can't be arsed with all that. You just want it plain and simple, don't you? So 5 to 6 minutes later, installation is complete. You need to restart the computer in order to use the new installation. So we click restart, and it's going to reboot it. Now it says please remove the installation medium and press enter. So if you were on a PC, laptop or something and you were installing it bare metal on that, now's the time. You unplug the USB drive, put it to one side, and then we just press enter and it boots. Because we're in VirtualBox, we don't need to worry about any of that. Just press enter and let it go. And we're booting. And this ain't bad, is it? Considering, you know, we're up to 21. I know we've paused and I've already downloaded the videos, but I have waffled nonsense for God knows how long. But how quick is it just to install Linux? Far quicker than Windows. We click on the username. We put in our super secret password. Speaking of passwords, we'll be doing password managers soon. Have you got one? Do you use one? Are you interested? You may not be, but at some point I'll be doing a video on it. It's already on my blog. My blog will be posted in different places, so you can go and have a look at that if you want a sneak peek. Put the password in, hit enter. I've typed it right this time, and we're in. First thing you're greeted with, and we'll go through this just to get rid of it quick, is the quick new user setup. Do you want to link all your lovely accounts? No. Do you want to do the live patch and whatnot? And I think it's a subscription service, so no. Do you want to help improve Ubuntu? Yeah, it'd be really nice, but I don't want to send them my information. So no. And next, do you want to turn on location services? No. And that's it. We're ready to go. And look at all the software that you can install on Ubuntu. You know, people say Linux is junk. You can't do half the things you can on Windows. And yeah, some things you can, some things you can't. But, you know, VS Code, Zoom, Spotify, Slack, VLC, OBS Studio, all these other stuff, Discord, Bitwarden Security. There's loads of stuff that you can install and use. It's a computer. It's a desktop environment. Done. And here we go. Here's your desktop. So what we are going to have a quick look at, because this is VirtualBox. This is here in this little window here, which is all very nice and lovely. Will it go any bigger? So we can go display, right click and go display settings. Will it go? I'm on 1920 by 1080. Apply. Oh, look at that. Keep the changes, and we're now full screen. So we can minimize, maximize. Good to go. You need to pick the resolution that fits your screen. I know that this fits my screen. And we're in. So we just click the little X to get rid of that. It's let's do auto resize. Will that work? Oh, it's, hang on. It mooshed it off onto a different screen. It is a little bit big because it's running in VirtualBox. It is a little bit smaller, so it's not the best. But what we can do is devices, insert guest editions CD. So this is going to do all the linking through VirtualBox and all that jazz. So we click insert the CD, and that creates us a CD drive, and you'll see the little disk pop up here. So we can click on it, and these are the install files. Half of it you need, half of it, well, some of it you need, some of it you don't, because you don't need the Windows installations, because this is Linux. So we'll click Run Software, which is going to do not a great deal, but it will allow us to hit the VirtualBox Linux editions. We don't want any of the others, we just want the Linux editions. So we can double click on it, and it's going to fire across and load that. So Linux, this is a Linux version. This is Ubuntu. When I say it's a desktop, it's the same as a desktop. You've got your web browser, you've got a mail client. You can install a different browser, install a different mail client. You can uninstall these if you don't want them. You got your file explorer. Yeah, so you got your documents. Back, you got your downloads, back, music, pictures, all that good stuff. Yeah, you can go and look at the full computer. I would advise not to dig into some of these. You can do some damage. So you got your file explorer, you've got a music player, you've got Office. We'll have a look at that in a second. You've got the Ubuntu Software Center, help, and your recycle bin. And if we go to the software thing, it takes a minute. Obviously, it's doing stuff in the background as well. This is like a catalogue of software of things that you can install. Yeah, so you can look at all these different categories, pick things. You've got games that you can just click and install. Loads of weird and wonderful stuff. Yeah, there's loads of them. Loads of stuff you can play with. You know, we can look at security programs. What was I going to look at? Productivity. So you can install password managers. You can install browsers. Security. There's all sorts of stuff, loads of stuff. Joplin for notepads. Yeah, there's tons of stuff you can install. Because this isn't fitting in the screen properly, down in the bottom left is the Show Applications. So this will show you what's installed. So this is like your Windows menu button type of thing, but it's the Ubuntu menu button. You can move your mouse to the right and go and see the second page of things. Move your mouse to the left, click on here to go in. So you've got LibreOffice installed by default. So if you think, oh, but you know, I haven't got Office, how am I going to get me word processor or me Excel thing? Well, you've got a text editor. You've got LibreOffice Calc, which is your calculator. Your Excel calculator. What am I on about? Impress for your PowerPoint presentations and all that. Loads of stuff. So you got, and there's LibreOffice Writer, which is the equivalent of Word. Yeah, and you can save in Microsoft Office formats. The terminal window. I'm going to right click and go Add to Favorites. So it sits here because this is one of the most important things. I'm going to have to get the screen size fixed. This is one of the most important features of Linux, the command line. I don't know what's going on with this. Force quit. We'll get rid of that for a second. So with the command line, there's anything that you can do with the GUI. So if I wanted to open a file, if I wanted to save a file, create a file, do anything, you can do it with the GUI. Yeah. With the CLI, the command line interface. over here you've got some settings. You can look at your settings, your network settings, power settings, the actual computer settings, and if you look at power off, log out, you can put it to sleep or suspend, restart the machine, power it off, or just log out. So if you've got other users, you could log out of you and log into another user. But that's it, it's installed and we've got it running. And just to show you the power of the command line interface, we're done with this now, so we can officially get rid of it. I'm going to run a command that will, instead of me clicking the shutdown button, it's just going to shut the machine down, yeah, via the command line. So sudo is me telling the system to run as administrator, yeah, run this command as the administrator. In Linux it's called the super user. So the sudo is shortened down, it basically means super user do. So do as the super user. Shutdown is my command, so I'm telling the machine to shut down, and the argument, so this is a little bit of command line syntax. You have a command and then arguments, and the S in brackets because there could be one or many. So my command is shut down, my argument is now. I could just put shut down and it'll take a while to shut down, it'll do it when it wants, but shut down now will just tell it to go right now. Yeah. Put your password in. Why? Well, I'm now asking it to do it as the administrator, and it says you might have administrator privileges, but as long as you can confirm that it's you that's doing it by putting in your password. That's why I said you will need your password, even if you do auto login. And that's it, it's gone. So there's your Ubuntu desktop setup, and off you go. Future videos, I'm going to go through the basics of Linux and the command line, so you can then start firing up the command line and trying out commands, doing stuff in there, and be able to call yourself a super Linux user. But again, you can just crack on now and start using it as a normal desktop. You've got your web browser, you've got Office, do pretty much anything you can in Windows or Mac with it. Hello. The dog's here, it's walkies time. So there's that, but what we're going to do now is a really quick install of the server edition, just so you have a look at that. So again, it's off an ISO file. So I'm going to click New. Ubuntu server, I'll call it. Test, so I know I can bin it. Where do you want it? We're going to put it in that lovely little folder that we created. In your documents, virtual machines, we'll create a new folder again. Ubuntu server, what did I call the other one? 22_04, or you could call it Jammy. Select folder. Where's your ISO image? So this is the file that we downloaded, and it's the live server one. Open. It again knows it's automatically defaulted to Linux and Ubuntu. Skip the unattended installation because we've got to go through it anyway because it doesn't work. Now with this one, the hardware requirements are significantly less. Yeah. So to prove a point, 512 mega RAM, half a gigabyte, and just one CPU core because I can't give it any less. It won't use the full core, so you're not taking up a huge amount of everything else, but I can't give it any less. So happy days. So one CPU core, 512 mega RAM. It's asking for the default 25 gig again. Again, you could put it down to 16 gig if you really wanted, because it's a small install. But if you're going to do anything like file server or web server or something like that, then you might want a little bit of extra storage. So adjust it to suit your needs. Next, you've got the summary. Finish. There you go. It's created the machine down the bottom there, and we'll click exactly the same as the other one. Now we click Start, but the install is different. Install is slightly different, so we'll show you that. We're on the same try or install. Again, my mouse is stuck. I press Control, bottom right Control, and my mouse is out. But we'll go try or install. Didn't do all this last time, did it? All this scrolly, weird nonsense up and down the screen. That's because this is the server edition, so it is slightly different. Or quite possibly it's binned. Which is has happened to me in the past. Can I go up? I think it's binned. Well, this is the reason I do it live, so that you can see when things go wrong. So I'm going to click the red X. It's gone wrong. It's binned. I'm just going to go power off the machine. Okay. My file may be corrupted. My ISO file, because I've copied it across from a network drive. But to prove a point with virtual machines, if you wreck it, right click, remove, delete all the files. It's as if it was never ever there. So we'll just start again just to see if it will go. Otherwise I'll have to get a different file. Ubuntu server. Where? Click. Where do you want it? Really quick. Desktop, documents, virtual machines. It's kept the file, but there's the folder, but there's nothing in it. It's kept the folder because it didn't create it. The ISO file. It's that live server one. Skip the unattended. Next. Let's try it with, excuse me, a gigabyte of RAM. Just to make sure. Next, next, finish. Start. Cross them for me. And your toes. Go on, toes. Toes and all. Click in here. This is looking better. This is looking better. Give it a gigabyte of RAM. It should run on 512, but maybe it's just it does on me servers. Right, so here we go. Right, this is the server edition, so there's minimal, there's no GUI, yeah, there's no graphical user interface, yeah. I can't start clicking around. I've got to use the keyboard now, yeah. You can't use the mouse, you've got to use the keyboard, because this is server, this is the lightweight, compact, there's no GUI, yeah, so you need to get that right out of your head. We're going keyboard, so I press down to get to English UK because I'm in the UK. Press enter. Read the release notes. Version 2 of the installer is available. Do you want to use update? So I'm going to go up and I'm going to say update to the new installer. Why not? Yeah, we're feeling posh. So I've gone up with the up arrow. Press enter. And it's downloading the new installer. 73.88 megabytes. It's not megabytes, I'm just being silly. Here we go. Downloading all the files. Right, here we go with the installer. This will be quick. If we get to an hour, something's gone really wrong. Okay, so it's saying keyboard configuration. Because I've picked English UK on me language thing, this is saying, do you want the English UK keyboard? Yes, I do. If you don't, then you can press tab, the tab key to get up here, and then you can go and select whatever you like. Use the up and down arrows to select it. You press enter on it and go through the list. But I'm happy with the UK layout, so I'm going to click done. So choose the base for the installation. Ubuntu server, so the default server package. If you want a really teeny weeny one, then you can go for the minimized one, but I'm happy with the standard server. I've not installed the minimized one. I don't know what problems it'll cause me, but I've never done that. I've always done the standard server. So done is already highlighted. I don't need to install any third-party drivers. There's not much need to unless you've got weird and wonderful network adapters or something like that. Done. Configure at least one interface for the server so it can talk to other machines. So it's picked up the virtual Ethernet adapter, and it's happy. So we click done. It's saying if the system requires a proxy to connect to the internet, enter its details here. If you know what details you should be entering here, that means you know you've got a proxy. If you've no idea what this is, it means you don't have a proxy. So don't enter anything, just click done. And it's saying, look, it's going to use the gb.archive.ubuntu.com mirror, which is the website it's going to download all the stuff from. And it's saying, are you happy to use that? Or you can, if you know of somewhere else to get these files from, you can go and use that instead. I'm happy to use the default because I don't know what else I would use. Done. So configured the hard drive. Configure a guided storage layout or create a custom one. If you know what you're doing, you can create a custom one. I'm not particularly happy creating partitions and different stuff, so I'm just going to tab now. Tab my way down to the done button. Use the entire head disk because it's the virtual disk, so it's fine. Click enter on done. Here's your summary. Are you happy with all the junk that you've given it? It was all defaults. Click done. Are you sure? Do you want to confirm this destructive action? So again, we're in a virtual disk, so we can destroy it. It's fine. I've arrowed down to continue. It's gone red because it's a warning screen and it wants you to know this is going to destroy everything on it. I'm happy. So we've got to pass in our details again. So what's your name? Rich, what's the server name going to be? You can call it whatever you want. I'll just call it Ubuntu server for now. I'm going to kill it anyway. Pick a username. Choose a password. I'm not going to do all that again. You're all right. We're going quick. I'm just going to tab again to get down to the done. Done. Do you want to enable Ubuntu Pro? No, because I think it costs money. Do you want to install OpenSSH server? So if you were installing this in a lab environment and you knew you wanted to SSH over to it, now's a good time to hit the space bar to put an X in the box. Do you want to import your SSH identity if you already have SSH creds set up and you use them all the time, you've got them stored somewhere? Now you could do that. I haven't. So I'm just going to tab down to done and hit done. And it says, is there anything else that you want to install? So look at the things you can install. You can install Google Cloud SDK, AWS CLI, PowerShell, Wormhole, all sorts of stuff in here. No. So I'm just going to hit tab to get down to done. I don't need to install any of that. If you're doing it for this reason, for one of those reasons, then now's the time to do it. Done. And now it's going to go off in its merry way. So whereas before you had things flying around the screen, little bars going across saying what it was doing and pretty pictures and all that, you've not got that because there's no graphical user interface. This will be a faster install, and it's just all text-based. But what I'm going to do now is just pause the video whilst this does install, and I'll be back in a second when it has done. Right, so just a quick note here. It's actually saying that the install is complete, but what it's doing on mine at the moment is doing updates. So I could click in and click cancel update and reboot, but I'm just going to let it carry on doing this merry little thing. And as soon as it's done that, I'll come back and let you know. Super duper. Right, so that slightly lengthy update has installed and it's finished. So we got two options. We can go and view the log, or we can reboot now. So I'm just going to arrow key down just to reboot now, and reboot. I was just trying to bin out the CD-ROM for the ISO image. It's fine, just hit enter on it just to get rid of it. Shouldn't have to remove it, it should be alright. It's loading up. Bong. Right, so if you don't get a prompt, and sometimes you don't, it can be a bit finicky, this bit, but just hit enter and it'll give you the login prompt. Yeah. So it's asking for your Ubuntu server login, so that's your user ID, which is mine is Rich. Press enter, asking for your password. And we're in, so it gives you some information. Welcome to Ubuntu 2204.2 LTS. Blah 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 blah. Whole load of junk. 69 updates can be applied immediately, so I could run the updater. But you'll see that it's now in a full command line interface. Yeah, there's no GUI. Can't do anything with a mouse. I'm here. So now we have to use commands to see what's running. And you're going to have, you know, oops. All your files and folders, so everything's going to have to be navigated through the keyboard. And that's it installed. So now with the server edition, everything, as I say, everything is command line, but it's just exactly the same as if you were working in the terminal in the desktop version. Yeah, so you can do your sudo apt update. It'll ask me for the password to upgrade to the administrator privileges. Typed that wrong. So it'll go and update its packages and say what you want to do. Sudo apt upgrade -y. Anyway, I'll go. So basically, that is your server edition up and running. You can install software or do anything you want with it now. As I say, it's not like the desktop version, so you're not going to get Office. You're not going to get all your nice web browser. Everything is going to have to be command line interfaces. So if you can get stuff off the internet, but it's all going to be in the command line interface. So it's not the same as using a desktop. This is for specific use cases. But I wanted to show you the server edition just to see, you know, just to show you what it looked like. And there we go. We're at 50 minutes, so another long one. I do apologise. It does take time to install stuff. This is part of the updates. Just going to tab down and go OK. There you go, it's done. So happy days. That's your lot. You've got Ubuntu desktop, or you've got Ubuntu server if you're going to start playing with it. and attacking it, or using it to attack other things, or whatever you're going to do with it. And that's it. Somebody's just arrived to tell me it's walkies time, and we have his monkey and his ball now, so he's getting a bit. It's time to go. So thanks for watching. I hope that's been. Now he's going to be noisy. I hope that's been useful for you. It's been fun installing some more software, because I love installing stuff. If you liked it, then do hit the little like button. It just makes me lets me know that people do appreciate the content. And if you're looking for more stuff, then do hit the subscribe button, so you can and the notification, so you know when more videos come out. And if you're looking for other stuff, as I say, we'll be looking at Linux at some point in the very near future. But if there's anything that you are thinking along the basics that you and the fundamentals that you want to know about, drop them in the comments, and we'll have a look at that and see what we can do. But there you go. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.